NyanCave!
Hi, hello, welcome. Welcome back to Ace Attorney. Stuff's happening.
Oh, yeah?
Quick side note, I was watching some of the previous streams and there was some, like, buzzing going on.
Your mic is so quiet now. Our mics are so quiet now.
Yeah, so quiet.
Yeah, I'm just looking at where we're hitting and we're much quieter.
Mucho quieter.
Let me know.
I'm gonna shift that one up. How do we sound, y'all? Oh yeah, and somebody said.
Yeah, you're
maybe
so quiet. You're so quiet. Music is loud. Music actually hasn't changed at all.
Interesting.
Hello. How's
Hello.
that?
Hello. That's more better. That's more better. Not as yeah. That should be okay. Well, I'm gonna reduce the sound a little bit.
A little bit. A little bit of compensation. Never hurt nobody.
Yeah, we're not hitting the filters anymore for noise suppression. For deducting, sorry, for deducting.
That's a good thing.
That's
a good thing.
That's a bad thing.
If we don't hit the limiter?
Not the limiter, sorry. We're not hitting the ducking threshold, which means the music's not getting quiet when we talk.
Hello, hello.
Just if we get some fires in chat because everything is on fire, please.
No, it's okay.
Hello. Oh, we'll go with that.
I mean, because everything is fine. Of
Yeah.
course. Everything is fine, so please put fire in the chat because everything is fine.
Still too quiet. You gotta yell all the time. Yeah, you can't casually speak anymore.
Hello.
That's better. That's
Okay.
better. We're hitting more normals now.
More normals. We'll take more normal, please.
How's that? Is that a bit better?
That
It-
looks better on
yeah.
my lasers. My lasers look more normal.
Okay. Chat, how does this sound more normal? All right. Steshy says we're sounding fine. Okay, Syra, it looks like we might have gotten there. Ah,
Any
Good.
buzzing? Oh, I'll figure it out later.
Welcome back. Hello. I haven't eaten anything, so sandwich is going to be arriving soon. I'm gonna scarf it down between takes
yeah.
as best as I can.
Yeah, we came to an agreement that either pelican or duck style,
Yep.
no chewing is how it's going to go.
We're benchmarking my digestive system today. I'm infused with the power of drugs, so we're gonna see.
Woo! Bam.
Just saying hi to my little sister who will be watching this from VOD land.
Oh.
We both love you guys. Have fun with the rest of the game.
Oh, that's so good.
Little green fly.
That's awesome.
Thank you, little green fly.
And also sister,
sister.
of Little Green Fly. Good to
Hello.
see you as well.
Hello, little sister.
Hopefully they don't skip this part.
Please don't skip this part. I swear, our audio is fixed now.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light.
That's the spirit!
And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue. And I have all the time in the world. Because of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain.
Oh man, are we gonna go undercover?
I don't know.
Do you think? This whole case?
Pretend to be Sasato.
Mm-hmm.
It was 6 months ago. A mysterious incident that unfolded in the wintry streets of London. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back.
What an unlucky bad day for her.
Oh, look!
Combo.
I should pick that. Oh my god!
Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san. And the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence.
Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation!
Was the man's reaction after the trial. But his jubilant jubilation was short-lived.
No.
We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once. So, Susato-san and I summoned a handsome...
I think we summoned 2 handsomes already today.
Oh.
Wow. Hey there.
Hello, I'd like to summon the handsome, please. Oh no, not the handsons.
Get
outta here. Get the broom! Get the broom!
Get out of here, Hansons.
And headed immediately to the hospital. I assume a handsome is like a carriage?
Yeah, mouse.
Oh, you think so?
I assume so, with context. I don't know.
Is that the golden Michelin
Summoned
man?
a handsome.
Yes.
Oh, mouse bites. He needs mouse bites. He needs mouse bites to live.
St. Bartholomew's Hospital, recover wards. This is in the past?
Yes. There you are, at last!
Good morning, Mr. Sholmes.
I think not. Oh! I didn't expect to see you here. You're late. What on earth took you so long?
Yeah, this is.
Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital.
That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time.
The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I've been waiting for what felt like an eternity. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. And feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you.
Well, thanks for that.
Anyway, you're here now, so the victim is over there, and she's only just regained consciousness. Oh, I love her. You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here.
So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with a knife in her back.
Oh, jeez.
Her name is, oh yes, here we are, Miss Green. She's so friend-shaped, I just want to give her a squeeze.
You know, I do also think we really underplayed the idea that she was in a coma for a week, because we were thinking of, like, nowadays, probably on life support.
Yeah.
Back in that day, she had a real risk of being buried alive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, she's dead for sure.
But she's breathing.
Not for much longer.
This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it?
I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an artist's mannequin, I believe, used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses.
Really? It's not exactly what you'd call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it?
No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before.
Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job.
Someone's been painting, but they didn't like it, so they threw it on the floor.
Oh.
What a mood.
Oh.
Was someone painting her while she was in a coma?
That's love. Is this While You Were Sleeping?
Oh, wait.
You know the movie While You Were Sleeping where Sandra Bullock pretends to be married to that guy who is in a coma and then makes it all up, and then he has amnesia and she's like, yeah, I'm totally your wife or whatever.
No.
No.
That sounds awful, though. That sounds illegal.
That sounds real illegal.
I hear sandwich noises. One moment, please. Unless I didn't hear sandwich noises.
Sandwich.
I did hear sandwich noises, pardon me.
Looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. What is this place? A zoo? You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park. For the pigeons, yes, but this is a person. Poor woman. I hope she hasn't read this.
Why? Wow. Oh, sandwich noises! I heard those. Cool.
I smell of sweat and sandwich.
There are lots of bottles in that cabinet, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them like that?
If you were a patient here, I feel sure you take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep.
That is a worry, but at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy-looking one.
Oh, I have no doubt you'd manage to unlock that somehow while you were half asleep as well.
There are limits to even what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Mrs. Sato.
You are just actually Ryunosuke, aren't you, Clay?
Guess so.
Because we've had full conversations that you were not a part of.
Oh.
Is that the... Oh,
That has nothing to do with being asleep, though.
That must be a bag of Miss Green's personal belongings.
She would have been brought directly here after she was found stabbed on the pavement, though.
I expect a friend or a family member probably brought some things for her.
All right, then. Let's see what's inside. A change of clothes, no doubt, and...
No, Mr. Naruhodo, you must never scrutinize a young maiden's personal belongings.
But the young maiden might have chocolates, or biscuits, or caramel.
It's so true, though. He was like walking around looking at everything, ignoring the person sitting on the bed, then start going through her luggage.
What you got in there? You got snacks? Hey, you got any snacks in there, lady?
You can eat this?
You haven't even talked to me yet.
Is that mouse yours? Can I eat it?
Oh, a mouse! Mr. Naruhodo, an enormous mouse!
Vermin in the hospital? That doesn't seem the best.
But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump.
I'm not sure we can say that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you were thinking. They take great care of everything. Good morning. Oh. Hello, I'm, Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan.
Oh no! Was it your knife that... Are you the man who...
Oh, no. I'm a lawyer.
And
Worse.
I'm Susato Mikotoba. Pleased to meet you.
Oh no! Was it your knife then? Are you the one?
No. I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you regained consciousness and wanted to come give you our best wishes.
Best wishes for me? Thank you. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist.
I think
There's a-
she's the key to this case.
Olive
There's a
green.
pun here somewhere.
Olive
It'd be really
green.
great if her hair was red.
Olive green.
Oh, like a pimento?
I don't know. What are those stuffed olives?
Pimento.
Oh, pimento, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Be great.
Well, no, that's not right, is it? Okay, what I mean is I'm trying to be an artist. Okay, so, well, what I really mean is that I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back.
I don't think that's related, actually. I guess Twitter just happened in real life before.
Gosh. This young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down.
No, I bend over forwards to get stabbed in the back.
Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. So about the incident? To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green.
It was so cold that day and the fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time.
Okay, but the case has been solved, hasn't it? While I've been here in the hospital, I mean.
Indeed it has, my dear madame. Spectacularly, by none other than I, Sherlock Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in the courtroom that solved the case.
Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly.
Oh, I see.
Me coming round seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should never have regained consciousness. It was selfish of me.
Oh no, we're also relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. We really are.
With that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. So you're an artist, are you, Miss Green?
Oh no! Oh, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of the art, really, at the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts.
Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts?
Oh no, actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat in Brixton Road.
I see. How very interesting.
Oh no, is it?
Brixton is some 10 stops away from the on the underground from here. And Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton Town Centre.
Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes?
Perhaps not, but Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of town by comparison. Sorry, I was eating some caramel I keep on me.
Rick, is that you?
Dwelt in by those inferior means. Sorry. Including the magnificent Mr. Mustache.
Inferior means? I suppose Soseki-san does fit the bill.
It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine art student to be walking in such a district. That's all.
What's this? She suddenly clammed up.
Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying into a young maiden's private affairs.
Oh, dear me. Oh, do forgive me.
If you don't mind. I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things.
Oh, yes, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green.
You can't click on the picture? Maybe now? No.
I'm very curious, though.
Oh.
Oh, look, there's a photograph in this frame here.
Oh.
Oh yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman.
He looks about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think?
My, Mr. Naruhodo. I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart.
Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of.
He's just a sweet little guy, isn't he?
Ah! Oh, yeah. So what were we doing for the bobbies?
Oh, you should do one of these. You want one of these?
It was that or,
Why do you have to hate?
Oh yeah, Bobby. Is there a Mr. Naruhodo here? Mr. Naruhodo?
No, but I'd like to see more butts. Naro fodder now? If you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but...
Mr. Naruhodo, good. This is for you. It's a message from a Mr. Saucy Nutsmag.
Oh! I like me some saucy smeg.
Saucy.
That is the worst name I've ever heard.
It is not a pleasing name to see, speak, or hear.
So many.
Smeg.
Yeah, there are so many ways you could like break that word up and make it really gross.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could have nuts meg, or you know what? Never mind.
Yeah.
It's saucy.
And the sauce, sees.
Saucy.
Mm-mm.
I mean, saucy's a great name.
Right.
Nutmeg.
Not so great.
Whatever that is, it's the opposite of good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saucy. Smeg. Oh. Thank goodness it's not a real name.
No, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
thank goodness.
I want to go through a whole trial with
I
Saucy
know, we're like,
Nutmeg.
I can't wait to meet Mr. Saucy Nutsmeg. See what that guy was about.
Mr. Nutsmeg.
I'm both disappointed and relieved at the same time. Mr. Natsume sent a message to me?
But why would a policeman be delivering a message for Mr. Natsume?
Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning?
Oh, what are you waiting for? Let me see that. Well, this is most unexpected.
Something wrong, Mr. Sholmes?
Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note?
No, how could I have? You took it from me.
It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less.
Oh, no.
We must depart at once.
Murder?
Call a cab. Time is of the essence.
But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did.
That would be entirely convenient.
Convenient? What do you mean?
No.
It's all here in this note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings.
Wait, what?
I'll hail a fierce at once. Fierce queen. That's not.
Fiacre.
How many different names do they have for things?
English, just get it together. We don't need this many words.
Right?
It was only yesterday that Soseki-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address? He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time. But we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. What's funny is we talked about that apartment being a death trap. Can't have like gas lights and freaking bricked up windows.
Surrounded by books. Nature's timber.
I was also wondering what they meant by second case that he was involved in. Because I was like, what? I don't particularly remember that.
Right.
Just glossing. Oh!
Ah!
I was really looking forward to voicing this guy.
Ah.
He was so fabulous. Now he's dead.
There's a pun here.
Right.
I'm thinking Bard on the beach, but different.
Right.
And I just can't get it because like it doesn't, like Bard on his teeth.
Bard on his teeth.
Yeah.
Life out of reach.
Life out of reach.
Yeah, life out of reach. Bard death he be?
Oh, man, that's good.
FPB.
No, it's a bit. What on earth?
Oh my! The gentleman is deceased without question. He's dead.
I don't know. Could be playing dead.
Right?
Locum student, Mr. Naruto Esquire.
Mr. Natsume.
Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me?
I've only just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch the worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle.
I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache.
Not the horrible hairlock Sholmes. Shove up. Show yourself the door. I never invited you. Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume.
I'm entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you?
You can go for this.
Yes. Here they are already, the busybodies.
Ah, Inspector Gregson. What a pleasant surprise.
Pleasant, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Jones.
Ha-ha! I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food.
Good morning.
Good morning, Inspector.
This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything.
Good morning to you too, Sunshine. I saw someone say "Bard in the seat." That's a good
Bard in the
Good one,
seat.
good one.
I heard to be or not to be dead. I thought that was good.
Kill Jester.
Kill Jester.
Kill Jester, yes.
It's my money.
It's my money.
Oi! I said hands off. You're gonna mess up my crime scene.
No, I just wanted to look. That's all.
No chance. I know your kind. No, God damn it, trying to place a British-ish gruff accent.
I know you can, fella.
Yeah, I know, and that's where I went to. It
Right?
seems southern to me. You don't mess it up just by looking at it.
Someone's in a bad mood.
Maybe he immigrated from south.
Sure, why not?
America.
There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there?
All right, it sounds like I'd better talk to the inspector first and try to curry some favor.
I like how Soseki's looking at him like, Jesus Christ. Right in front of my salad.
He's just so pissed at him for being dead.
How could you? How could you die? How dare you?
I was like, what movie was it where they were really pissed at a dead dude and they were like kicking him because he was dead?
Weekend at Bernie's?
No, I didn't see that. But it was A Knight's Tale in the very beginning,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
where their knight died right before they were about to get
yeah.
paid,
Yeah.
and so they just like start kicking the shit out of his dead body.
Yeah.
Stupid. Oh man. Huh? Ah. Oh yeah. I of course don't actually know how to do any sort of British accent, but like something I do is like I
Oi.
recycle the voice back through like, the bottom of like basically like the very back
Alright.
of the tongue.
Right.
So, Inspector,
So, Inspector.
was the victim's name? Who was he?
kind of thing. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like
Oi,
it's just like
alright.
it's like a movement.
Just think about the Queen.
Ah,
That's what I do. I think of the Queen whenever she speaks.
English.
And you go, hello, welcome, Commonwealth,
Ginger dwarf, please
to...
communicate in your language.
Hello.
Hello.
We watched
Hello.
what is it? The great
Great British Baking Show.
the Great British Baking Show. Yeah, we watched first episode of season 11 because it was on one of our streaming things. Pretty good show.
It's
I
so
enjoyed it.
so pleasant.
It is very good time.
I'm Pecco.
So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he?
Mr. William Shakespeare. He was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, he was an actor, a bit of a dead loss as it happens, or just dead.
Wow. Mr. Shakespeare.
It was the landlord of Mr. Garrideb and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. The fella didn't rise at his usual hour, so Garrideb got worried and kicked the door down. Shakespeare.
But doesn't Mr. Garrideb have a bad leg?
Oh, yeah. You're right there. It was a jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking.
Really? Soseki-san.
The victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in this house.
Wow, why are you coming at me like that, Gregson? Stop.
Miserable life. And a miserable end to it.
Jeez, it's not that bad. We have a stage here that we made ourselves. We maybe put on place for ourselves because we love what we do. Jeez, why are you judging?
It kind of is.
Yeah. There's a certain angle where this would appear very funny. So what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation. So shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene?
Well, I'm not saying it's because the fella looks odd or anything. Or that he acts suspicious.
I have a stomach thing. I have to pick things up to read them. I'm not trying to steal. What are you on about, Gregson?
But I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the cohabiter.
You nearly said culprit there, didn't you?
Nope,
Oh dear.
not I.
Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again.
It certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he?
Poor man. How unfortunate.
Anyway, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella's been a goner that long. Body's still warm.
Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body.
He's not dead. He's just Romeo and Julieted himself.
Oh no!
The first time, not the second time.
Yeah. He Julieted himself.
Yeah,
He
he's Romeo'd. No, wait.
No.
He's Julieted.
Yeah, he's not Romeo.
No.
Where does this leave us? Do I talk to Natsume now? What a terrible thing to have happened.
It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences!
So the victim lived here on the ground floor, and your room is just 1 story up, is it?
Yeah, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose.
So did you know the victim? Were you friends? Oh, what's the matter with Soseki-san now?
Oh, no.
It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it?
Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But he did he even invite me to his room? Never! On my honor, I swear it.
What an extreme reaction.
And they were neighbors.
No, Soseki, please.
You're probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking for you to come. Through that inspector over there!
Oh god.
No, Herlock! Wait, where is he? I can't see him.
Pretty sure this is like one of the poses of Charlie's Angels.
It's Drew Barrymore's pose, my favorite.
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing?
Ha! You need only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating, naturally.
There's nothing natural about that pose.
Mr. Sholmes, have you made some sort of miraculous discovery?
Patience, my dear madame, patience. We've not been here in this room 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened.
That's all.
Oh my goodness! But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes?
Does everyone have their dancing shoes on? Get your dancing shoes on.
Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way.
We're going to do the dance of deuce. Deduction. That's it.
At the present time, I have managed to draw 2 incontrovertible conclusions.
They're about to be controverted real hard. I'll tell you that
Real
much.
hard.
The first, that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life.
Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow?
No. Don't mind me. Forget I was here. And my second conclusion
Don't you dare.
is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that that passed the victim's lips.
So he was breathing through his mouth?
He's a mouth breather.
Nonsense! Oh my goodness!
Or, more likely, the nose has lips.
Right.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
I can't wait to taste that with my nose holes.
Imagine if you had
So
nose
weird.
holes
Yeah,
of
and
little.
and they're just like...
Yeah. And they just ate little pieces of whatever you're trying to smell to discern what they were.
I imagine that's how ventriloquism works.
Yeah.
They just have little invisible lips on their nose.
Yeah. But do they have teeth? That's what I need to know.
Oh, maybe really sharp ones.
Then you could bite your nails and pick your nose at the same time.
Yeah.
What a time saver.
Yeah.
Just face first into cake. All right, Mr. Natsume. Why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions?
No! Please pretend I'm not here. Invisible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant.
Nice. Impossible to ignore.
You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail.
But of course, let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions presented you for your pleasure in 2 acts.
2 acts. Oh my goodness.
We've heard some truly astonishing great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time?
So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Cause of death. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us that the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night.
Un momento.
Grats on 70k subscribers, Tom.
Hey! Did we make it? Did we do it?
We did.
Oh, shit, we did it?
I realized this morning,
Oh, 7014!
Thank you. Yeah, with everything going on, it kind of just slipped my mind.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we've graduated from 69, which is a little sad.
That means waffles for chat. How many waffles do you say? 70,000? Yeah, me too.
I was gonna
70.
say 70,000, but
I was gonna say
like that's not
7.
enough. But then 700,000 is too much. So I don't know. 70,000 twice.
Oh!
140,000.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison.
Oh my god. So sick,
He's
son.
so sus.
He's like, whoa.
I want to play poker with that guy.
Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe,
Is that a stick of butter?
Butter? I was thinking too.
1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably.
Oh.
Why is the soap set so purposefully upon this dish? Like the victim's last supper, in fact, yes.
I've heard of actors being washed up, but this is ridiculous. Oh.
I thought this gesture just had a potty mouth.
Ah.
Buddy.
Why are we still here? Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course. The fork reveals the answer.
This looks like such a meme template.
Oh my god. Soseki, just stop staring at me, God.
Just green screen, basically everything but Soseki.
Right.
Yeah.
There should be a clean frame in there too, so I can get that.
It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. But London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. The soap and the lather beyond the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Though personally, I have greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course.
Okay. Topic 2.
Ooh.
The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder?
They both had like a real, like detective duo pose there, like some sort of promo for like a crime show, you know, where they're both standing in that weird angle where it's like one and the other, they're kind of facing each other, but they're kind of staggered and stuff.
And then the body.
So you know who's like the main,
Yeah.
and then who's the Watson, if you
Sub.
will.
Yeah.
The top or the bottom, if you will.
Yeah. Put it another way.
The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's Last Supper. Did the man dine and die alone? This single teacup suggests the answer.
The only thing I do alone is dine and dash.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't.
Don't do that.
Please, it comes out of the server's
Absolutely.
wages for the day.
You probably saw some of that.
Huh?
You probably saw some of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's never like this, like, I imagine it's never this, like, grand thing that happens where it's all like, oh, and they run. It's just like people just casually walk away from the table,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I couldn't do it.
No.
Like, if I tried, I would be so nervous and I would be the sussiest bussy around.
Basically, Soseki.
Yeah. Yeah, he's me.
To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however. Certainly. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. Though forced open now, at the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the sole key was in the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone.
Another locked room mystery.
Alone with his inferior soap from whence wafted an inferior scent.
He's already dead.
And stinky. And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on its way to the hereafter.
No possible perpetrator present.
Uh-oh, stinky.
Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction.
Mm-hmm.
There's just one thing. I don't know why. Mr. Sholmes?
You are disposed to identifying just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what concerns you?
Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap?
It is quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing.
How extraordinary.
In truth, I have tried a little soap myself in the past.
You've eaten it, you mean?
My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut. I could fart bubbles.
And did it?
As I writhed in agony on the floor and spilt the contents of my stomach, yes, I believe it did. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it.
Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did.
But it smells so good.
Sometimes it do. There's something that troubles me as well, actually.
Oh, and what's that?
It's Mr. Natsume. I couldn't help noticing him shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye. It's almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deduction touched a nerve somehow.
No, not nonsense.
Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last.
I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth.
Yes. Mr. Sholmes' observations are deductions sometimes a little... Oh, observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in at an obtuse angle. And when he does that, it falls on us to straighten things out.
Like, how polite. Those are all of the euphemisms for like, no. no, you didn't do it.
Oh, sweetie. Oh, sweetie.
Sweet, sweet summer child.
All right, then. Well, let's see what we can do.
Yes, we must pick out the keywords in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions. And discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place.
Oh, I missed that. So cute.
In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise for Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1, Part 2.
Oh, course correction.
Hold it, Mr. Sholmes.
Yo!
Made it home in time for an old favorite, the dance of deduction. It's a perfect complement to yesterday's feature, Seishiro, Judge's Trite Twice.
Adam!
Adam, thank you.
Thank you.
Got my head totally turned around in data modeling today, wallowing in my failure. Thank goodness you're here, crying face.
Angry! Oh no, I don't know what that
Failure
means.
is just one step towards progress.
Yeah, it's like Jake the dog always says, sucking at something is the first step at being sort of good at something.
It's like actually the best quality advice.
Right?
Truly.
Sometimes when I feel like, oh man, I suck, it's like, well, this is just the first step at being sort of good at something.
Yeah. You know what they say? You've got to suck before you can blow anyone away.
That's a fact.
You've got to suck before you can blow it. You know what? Never mind. The first one was fine.
Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth of deceased clearly indicates the use of poison.
Phil. Thanks, Essie.
Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate, which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is the soap so purposefully set upon the dish? Like the victim's last supper, in fact, yes. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course. The fork reveals the answer.
Stop looking at the camera like that.
My favorite shot. Well, you can't deny that a fork implies the man was eating something, or about to eat something.
Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than attempt to do it with chopsticks.
And of course, only half of the bar of soap is left on the plate.
But might there not be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man really ate some soap. Oh, there's something on the floor. More soap.
Oh, yeah.
More sope.
Other piece of soap.
Okay, so it is soap. I thought we might have also go into debunking that it was even soap.
It is not soap at all. It is taffy flavored like soap.
Isn't soap candy a thing that people have? There was gum that's flavored like soap.
Oh,
Some people
yeah.
like it. I think it's disgusting.
Forbidden Tic Tacs.
TikToks.
Yeah, I don't really see anything particularly funny, so at least in mine. Oh, look, there's more soap on the floor here. Mr. Shamspear must have really loved the stuff.
Let's not jump to conclusions, Mr. Naruhodo. Look closely at the soap.
He's dead and right there. Or is that actually his name?
Mr. Shamspear?
Yeah.
I think that's just his name.
I thought they were just being mean. Oh.
No, I think I saw that when they would never be so mean, and just auto-corrected it to Shakespeare, and then.
Do you see that it would fit together perfectly with the half bar on the table?
What the? How could that be?
I think that they're two halves of the same bar that broke apart.
No. I did not present.
Take that!
It's such a cool effect.
Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course. The other piece of soap reveals the answer.
Being the other half of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all. But it's obvious, really, for no depths of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap.
I love the look he's giving me. I'm like, are you hearing this shit? This is my part, okay? Let me do this.
Girl, you actually ate soap, though. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite.
That begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table.
An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. For London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of that plate.
Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument then.
Perhaps he's suggesting the man licked the soap rather than ate it.
If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to be washing my hands with it. But there are no signs of any food in this room at all.
Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it?
Really teeing that one up for us.
Right? Teeing it up.
I know. No pun intended.
Yeah, is there? Can you do that tea stain? No tea stain. Only teacup. I love that little dingle, dingle, dingle. It's so good.
Yes. A Western vessel for the serving of infusions of dried tea leaves.
It's called a cup, geez. It's a teacup, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know. Stop putting on airs. And it's empty.
Increasingly verbose. So we've already established that the victim wasn't eating soap when he died. However, there's significant evidence to suggest that he was drinking tea.
My thoughts exactly. Are you sure you don't want to use more big words?
Take that!
Yes. The victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the teacup.
Indeed! Cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries. And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop.
There's no sign of food anywhere in the room.
Which leads us to the immutable conclusion.
Don't do it.
The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in this teacup.
What's the poison?
I did hear that that's the origin of Cheers, is that everyone would like clank their glasses together and it would all poison would be mixed around. You want to try to kill me? We kill each other.
The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that the death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? This single teacup suggests the answer.
I remember in the last game that there was some dude who was pretty angry at this guy. They had an argument outside the house.
They did. I thought they were lovers.
Oh.
Just having a lover's tiff.
Is that what love is to you? Just really angry?
Isn't that what it is? Isn't that how it works?
Sure, but it depends. The Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in our deduction so far.
Yes. We can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamspear was having a drink of tea from a cup. There'd be nothing remarkable about it, but what troubles me
is Mr. Natsume's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggest it. There's more to this deduction than it seems.
We must closely examine the scene of the crime again for more clues.
Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum,
Fork. Second
teacup?
cup. Actually, I hadn't seen that. Did we always know that was there?
No.
No, this is new information.
Yeah, they hide it.
Ah.
They hide it in angles.
And now he's singing with angels.
Oh.
Angles, Thomas. Angles.
It's a teacup!
It's another Western vessel for infuse.
Do you know what this is?
And it too is empty.
Given that he's actually holding this one in his hand.
We can assume that this is the cup from which Mr. Shakespeare actually was drinking.
But if that's the case, this changes everything. Everything we've deduced up till now is turned on its head. I have a bad feeling about this. I almost don't want to say it.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah, there's not really any funnies poking around that I can see.
Take that!
Other teacup. Did the man dine and die alone? This other teacup suggests the answer. Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. In other words, this is a strong indication that the victim's Last Supper, there was a guest present.
Yo, Shakespeare real spreading those legs, though.
I know, I was noticing that too. I'm like, dang, boy. At the very least, we can say for now with certainty that somebody else was here in this room last night, taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable! To draw a conclusion on such a meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly.
In which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table?
Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear
No.
fellow!
Shums, no.
Do you mean to say you know exactly who was in this room at the time of the victim's death?
Indeed! What reveals the answer, of course, is this broken lock.
I'm not sure I like where this deduction's going now.
I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap.
But the identity of the guest who was here last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about.
Well, you can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo.
No, I suppose not. Time to look around again.
We can't. Our boy just got out of jail.
No.
We can't do it to him. And for timeline order, this is happening before the last case in the last trial.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, we went back in time.
That's fun.
Which is kind of cool.
Retcon. Even Mr. Shakespeare didn't eat candles, it seems.
We've already established that he didn't eat soap either.
Do you think perhaps the guest brought this candle here last night?
Even if he or she does that reveal anything about the guest's identity?
Good point. There goes my idea. Snuffed out like a candle will be.
If you sigh so deeply, Mr. Naruhodo, you're in danger of blowing out the flame. It's empty.
Empty of liquid, but full of air.
Oh my god.
That makes you think, doesn't it?
It makes me think that you're full of hot air. We should be thinking about who else was in the room at the time.
Man, Sasato's on a real mean streak. Bother. Sasato-san's quip in response was cleverer than my original riddle. Cleverer.
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 At first glance, it seems that the only things in this room are the makeshift stage and costumes. I overlooked these 3 books initially.
I wonder what they are. Let's see, the titles read The Picture of Monsieur Locke, Le Coup, Canterbury Yearnings, and A Meal for Gabarreau.
Uh-oh. Wait. I'm sure I've heard those titles before.
It could just be an incredible coincidence, but They're the exact same 3 books that Mr. Natsume purchased the other day.
What? Yes, on the day of that unfortunate incident with when Miss Green was stabbed.
Oh, jeez.
Soseki-san had just been to a bookshop and bought them. That's right.
And now those 3 titles are here in this room of the victim.
Yet Mr. Natsume claims never to have been here before. What does this mean, do you think? I can't think of any possible implications.
I really don't know what to make of it.
Good. Then let us
Pile of familiar books.
Let us walk away together without having said anything. Ha 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 ha.
Or maybe that tiny door is hiding gnomes.
Oh.
Oh dear, the latch is most definitely broken, isn't it?
Murder gnomes.
The door was kicked in by Mr. Natsume, according to what Mr. Garrideb told the inspector.
Who knew his short, thin little legs had so much strength in them?
I'm not sure the length of his legs is in any way significant here.
Perhaps this says more about the poor state of the door than about Mr. Natsume's strength, actually.
Careful. If he overheard that remark, he'd almost certainly have a lively response.
I don't know. Can this broken lock really tell us anything about who was here?
Time to convict our friend.
Yep.
In order to acquit him.
Yes.
You know, that's just the way that we do it.
The order of operations.
Yep.
And he just won. He just won. Candles become shorter the longer they burn. And yet this candle is still rather long. In other words, it's highly likely that somebody else was in here to light it long after the victim died.
Quite the glowing answer, Mr. Naruhodo. However, you appear to have overlooked the possibility that the police officer lit the candle. You will need to burn brighter than that to make a great detective, my dear fellow.
Hey. The whole point of this exercise is to fix your mistakes, isn't it?
Ooh. Ooh.
Well, I'm glad we got something for that. A couple puns. The fundamental question that will reveal the truth about this man's passing.
Exactly, so we must make sure of things.
I must have been a look around. More that meets the eye. The glasses, they're transformers.
Glasses.
It was Glassatron. You found me out. Oh, crap. Oh, I can't skip this either. No!
I have
pressed
come
A
from the
instead of-
future to destroy.
Monsieur Look.
Sorry about the delay.
A performer found dead, and Sholmes thinking he ate that? Talk about a soap opera. Good thing mine used quite the dance partner armed with a brain cell.
Funny.
Oh, that was really
Very
good. That was
funny.
really good.
Pretty good, Adam. Pretty good.
Soseki looking so sexy.
Seki. Yeah, so sexy. More like so sexy.
So sexy is a much better mishearing than Nutsmeg.
Oh my god, yeah. Noel!
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Noel.
Take that!
Sorry, one last.
I have to give it to Sholmes here. His latest deduction almost made sense.
Almost.
He was so close.
Very close.
Almost.
He
Almost.
slipped up on the soap, though.
Ah. Oh.
Nah.
Mhm.
Thank you, Greg. Indeed. What reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books.
Quite so. It is no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in this room. It's the link to the truth.
Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a secondhand bookshop.
That's just coincidence. In that case, you'll be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? At this very moment.
We're starting a book club.
No, never, non-negotiable!
If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. It's amazing. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that.
In other words, you could only have brought these 3 books here to the victim's room.
Dance, 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 dance.
Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey.
Cool.
In short, there is only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in this room last night as a result of poisoning.
Is the Reaper's curse contagious? And that same night, the victim had a visitor.
And that visitor... was
You! Mr. Soseki Natsume.
Oh, I thought I was going to say it.
I assume we both did.
Thus concludes the final act of Sherlock Holmes' great deduction.
Oh, this game got budget though.
I really love like the dance of deduction. It's such a cool addition.
Yeah. They really upped the theatrics.
Yeah, and exactly. They just went in on it too. It wasn't like they just added it in.
Yeah.
These dance moves.
PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, not again! Not again! Not again! Not again!
One more time, you're never gonna be free. You're gonna incarcerated.
Well then, Mr. Natsume,
People be dying at your feet. One
more time. It would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard again.
But wait! Hold your horses!
Yes.
Door, key, locked. Entry, exit, entirely impossible.
He's so flustered, he's being even stranger than normal.
What? You think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy. You live in the same building after all. You'd have plenty of an opportunity, I'm sure.
But misery me.
Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to give your side of the story later.
The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache. Oh, you horrible Sherlock Holmes!
He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he? Arch rival? Arch.
Come on now, no dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting.
Shilly-shally. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I never imagined to be in this position again, but you have to help me, please. I'm innocent.
All right, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it.
Oh, and one more thing.
Oh, yes?
My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me. Waga hi.
And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken, Soseki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective.
I mean, we had a hand in this.
No thanks to us, that's for sure.
No.
My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
I said the man ate, soaked, and died. You're the one who said your friend was the one who did it.
With how often he's getting suspected of crimes, he's more like Soseki Natsumaya.
Hey, Cyber Saiyan! That's really clever.
Nice. Hey, Saffron!
Thank you for coming. One of us.
Castle.
Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson's no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now.
Yes, that's right. Oh, and of course,
What?
have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before?
It was the landlord, Mr. Garrideb, who discovered Mr. Shamspear.
Ah, Mr. John Garrideb, yes.
I expect we could find him in his sitting room on the top floor as usual.
Right. We must remember to go and talk to him later then.
Time to look at everything.
This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think, isn't it?
Where does the audience sit, though, for the nightly Shakespeare performances?
Actors aspiring to be the great stage must practice their art, Mr. Naruhodo, with or without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office.
What?
Then you could practice your art every single day.
I'll think about it. If you promise to don a beard and play the role of judge.
Well, if that would help you achieve your goal.
This I have to see. That'd be so much fun.
Hello, it's me, the judge. Gruff, gruff. Guilty.
Such a team player.
Mm-hmm. This is a gas wall light, isn't it? It must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall.
Gas lights, a gas stove. London really is a city of gas. Beans on toast, gas.
But now that I think about it, Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they?
Oh yes, you're quite right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there.
Well, I much prefer a real fire anyway. It's so much cozier.
That just seems so incredibly dangerous.
Right?
Having the gas lines. And it makes me think about, because at the time, they were probably like, oh, this is perfectly safe. What house are we going to live in and go like, oh, damn, that was unsafe?
Like, legitimately, my mom and I were talking. She's like, yeah, back in the day, we didn't care about seatbelts.
Ah.
And people were really upset when they're like, you have to start wearing your seatbelts.
Yeah.
Because they're like, seatbelts are going to decapitate you if you get in an accident.
Well, I don't. Yeah. It was a whole thing. But I mean, like, the gas pipes still exist. Like, they just run through the walls.
Yeah. I mean, it's still scary a little bit.
Honestly, I'd rather see them. Sometimes I get really scared when I drill into the wall. If you don't find it stuck. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Boom, boom. Oh my god, the spark from the drill bit and the metal pipe.
Yeah. And here we have another disproportionately large machine. It looks like a meter of some kind.
This is a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas as they would use it with coins.
Oh, one last thing on the seatbelt. I think it was Volkswagen that invented the 3-point seatbelt.
Volkswagen?
Yeah, and they maybe, I can't remember the exact story, but something like along the lines they could have patented it, but in the like
it was Ford, I believe.
Was it Ford?
I think it was Ford.
It was Ford or Volkswagen.
I think it was Ford.
For like the greater good.
Yeah, for the greater good, they just made it available.
Yeah,
to everyone because it was such an improved safety. Chad will probably know. I see. Now you've pointed it out. I can see that there's a slot here that looks like it would take a coin. So you mean if you put a coin in here...
That's right. That would buy you about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating.
So if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold.
It was Volvo, Rosie says.
Volvo, thank you.
Yes. Or if you were scatterbrained with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank.
Thank goodness there's no meter in our office.
Oh, where's your license? Where's your gas license? Beans on toast, where's your beans on toast license?
Look at these extravagant bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room with its grim, shady goings-on.
This one looks like it's a king's attire.
A king? I've always dreamt of being a king.
Oh, I think he'd be more suited to a feudal lord, a daimyo or such like.
Chanmage?
Chanmage.
Yeah. With a chanmage top knot? Every Japanese man wishes for a chanmage.
Ouchie in the distance.
Oh, you'd look so wonderful with one, and you already have the sword.
Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a chanmage and a sword?
As we've seen from the outside, the window of this is completely bricked up.
Sorry.
Someone didn't pay their window license.
It looks like they did a crayon drawing of themselves and posted it on the wall. Can you see it?
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah. That's their headshot.
Oh, that's cute.
No, they couldn't afford a mirror.
Yeah. Oh. Looking good still.
A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay.
What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property? It's extraordinary.
It's heartbreaking to think that the poor are having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh,
What is it, Mrs. Sato?
if you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose.
Oh.
Oh, yes, it looks as though an amateur has broken out a few pieces of them right here. Was it Mr. Shamspear did it, I wonder? Being the lodger renting this room.
Is that soaps?
Oh, look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a little ledge. And there's something on it.
What, outside?
Is that window soap?
Window soap.
Window soap.
Hmm.
Oh, it's so cold outside. You can really feel it through this gap.
It did snow all last night. It would be cold. But more importantly, what is that in the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps?
There's just more soap! What do you mean there's more soap? That's all I could think of too, Sony.
It's more bars of soap.
Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on the ledge outside of a window?
I have no idea, but the pair of them look rather charming like that.
Still, it's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window. I think perhaps we should take one. There are two, after all.
Oh dear. I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at the soap. Do you see? In the middle there. There's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but...
Some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain.
It looks like the Hinamaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? Oh, how wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand.
Expensive? Then what's it doing in this ramshackle old room? A cheap bar of soap that was discovered outside of Mr. Chancellor's window. It's one of the two that are found there. What?
Oh, okay. Well, they just said that it was an expensive soap,
Right?
And then we get the note, and it's like cheap soap. I'm like,
Right?
No, don't do it to a girl like that.
There's not much on these shelves, is there? Just this wine glass and a bottle. And both of them are cracked.
Yes, not much use, are they? What's the matter?
Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper, that's all.
Prosecutor Lord Von Zeeks?
Yeah, he's so reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking it's a waste and that he should donate some to those in need.
Well, you can suggest it next time we meet him. I know I won't be. Oh, hello.
What's this?
It looks like part of an envelope, I think.
Yes, I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened.
Is that significant?
Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps, when you look around the room. There's no sign of a letter on the rest of the envelope, in fact, is there?
Ah, she's right.
And yet, here we have a torn off end of an envelope. It just strikes me as unusual.
I agree. We better take this just in case. Ba-bum-ba-dum.
Maybe he's sitting on it.
Oh yeah, we haven't examined them.
One of the teacups that Mr. Shamspear and his guest drank from last night.
I think you mean it's a tea vessel.
But don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's bitter poison inside.
I'm not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, the cups are both empty.
That's true. So, one was Mr. Shamspear's, and the other one must have been the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from.
But Soseki-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later.
Yeah, that's pretty good forensics right there.
I think Gregson.
Gregson, yeah, I think.
Looks like you're having a snoop around, eh?
Inspector Gregson, back so soon?
After I threw that little Japanese fella in the clink, I went and reported this investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place is gonna be cordoned off by the yard.
Oh, I see. Well, we'd better be leaving then.
Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low, being back in a cell again so soon.
Whoa!
Oh, hey! I'm sure we should probably go and...
What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
Zombie!
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Out, out, brief candle! Life is but a walking shadow. A poor player
Bamboozle.
that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Now, how soundeth the next part?
That was him calling for line. Line?
It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Oh.
Indeed, a happy day!
Oh my god, no.
Get that death
No.
drop, girl! Hunty the boots the house down!
No. Don't be.
Whoa. Walking Dead! Streaming now on.
No.
The fellow isn't dead at all.
What was that nonsense he was saying, though?
Okay, talking about like the risk of being buried alive.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
right?
he was having a little nap in his own room. Somebody kicks in the door and he's like, "This guy's dead. Let's bury him."
Yeah.
I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5.
Shakespeare. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment, and Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime. Whatever that now was. Whatever that now was.
Hello, mama.
Oh, there.
Um.
Hello. So Seki-san was in the room above.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that means that there was are those the bars of soap just chilling out
I
there?
Yes.
yeah. And that's a soap delivery man right there.
Oh,
Whatever do you think will happen now?
good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life.
I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely that Mr. Shamspeare did consume poison as we deduced. But it was an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody.
I suppose so. Let's hope he doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Oh, what's this? What's that man doing over there? It looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodgings.
Is his chin huge?
I think so.
He's got big chin energy. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
Excuse me. Could we have a word? Oh, God.
He's like a bee.
Like a Muppet or something.
Oh!
He just ran off.
I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it?
I do too, but I don't really remember.
Hide.
Are you going Popeye?
Hey!
Bye. With the exception of the top floor where Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb live, all the windows are bricked up.
Yes, that's because of an old window tax that was charged on the number of windows a property had. In order to pay less tax, the poor members of society filled in many of their windows.
But the tax has since been abolished, hasn't it? So the windows could all be opened up again, surely.
Unfortunately, it would appear that the residents of this district can't afford to pay to have the work done.
Yes, that is a sad state of affairs.
Especially for people like poor Natsume, or Mr. Natsume, who have had to live all cooped up in a windowless room.
I suppose that's the price you pay for living in a very cheap accommodation.
It all seems rather pointless when you put it like that.
Ah, yes.
There always seems to be a bicycle outside the Garadeb residence. I read that bicycles are extremely popular all over Great Britain at the moment, in fact.
That one seems very warped, though. Especially the front wheel. Is that to make more of a challenge to ride, do you think?
No, I'm afraid that may be a result of the rider's incompetence. For the front wheel to be so badly warped, I'm afraid the rider may have been similarly affected.
Then there's a good chance Mr. Natsume's been practicing on this bicycle, I think.
Oh dear, I fear you may be right.
The Garadeb household and Mr. Natsume's lodgings are in a prominent position there on the corner. Sometimes when I look at the building, I can't help feeling that it's on a bit of a slant.
It does rather look as though it would collapse even in the smallest earthquake, doesn't it?
And isn't it supposed to be haunted as well? I think I might have a hunch as to why Soseki-san has had such a hunched back.
Bum 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 ba-dum bum.
London's blanketed in fog again today, and the sky is covered in cloud. But if you look carefully in the distance, you can just make out the Crystal Tower being built.
Oh, the Crystal Tower, yes. The centerpiece of the great exhibition that's about to open 6 months from now.
Woo! Everyone's talking about the Great Exhibition of London at the moment, it seems.
Well, it's to be the largest event of its kind anywhere in the world, with technology and scientists from all over. I can't wait for it myself.
Do you think visiting students from the Far East like us will be granted entry?
The last great exhibition that was held in London had more than 6 million visitors, it seems. And this time, the British are determined to make it an even bigger success, to outdo the Paris Exposition. Expo.
I see. That's an incredible number of people. And with so many people expected to attend, we should easily be able to slip in unnoticed.
There's always the honest approach to buying tickets at the main entrance, Mr. Naruhodo.
But Susato, have you ever considered crime?
I mean, sometimes.
Crimes?
Mr. Snowman!
He's so happy to see us!
Hey, guys!
Oh, hey, guys, I missed you!
Why has somebody built this snowman on some sort of pedestal, do you think?
That's not a pedestal, Mr. Naruhodo. It's part of the snowman's body.
Really? But it already has a perfectly good body.
Well, it's true that British snowmen are usually made with 2 balls of snow. Perhaps this is a foreigner.
And now we're looking at him as if he's strange. Poor man. I know how he feels.
I'm happy!
If anything, it's Japanese and British 2-ball snowmen that are the strange one, isn't it? After all, real people do have 3 sections: head, torso, and thorax. I mean legs.
Huh? Do you ever think that perhaps you think about things too much?
Yay!
I'm so happy to see you guys.
Anyone see a carrot lying around here?
Someone mentioned spring. What's that?
Oh no!
Hey, where are you going? A new location has been added.
Oh, yeah, the Garadeb's room.
That's gonna get water. 1 sec.
I just want to see what you had to say on them.
Oh dear. Do you know? Do you know? I don't believe we visited this place for some time.
For some time.
21st of February. The Garadeb's room.
Here we are again. The eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode.
We're here because Mr. Garadeb's the one who discovered the incident this morning. Don't forget. Don't put on that apron. Don't wear that sword. Don't eat their food. Don't touch that lion. Just...
Gosh.
Garadeb.
Ah, you chaps, eh?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday.
It was quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garrideb as anyone, really.
Came straight back here after all that business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more bally nonsense this morning.
So gross that he stirs it.
What? Really?
Wait, so in this case,
adds
have
flavor.
we just sent his wife maid to prison?
Yes.
So, okay. And he's just like, oh, good to see you. Thanks for saving me.
Essentially. I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garrideb.
Yes, I suppose you'd like to know all about that dead loss of an actor chap on the ground room floor.
When they say dead loss, do they mean like that he died, or
Yeah.
like that there wasn't a loss from the dead loss, like that dead loss? I don't know. I don't know what that phrase means.
Phrase, the turn of phrase. What does that mean?
Dead loss?
Dead loss.
Dead loss.
Dead last.
Dead last.
Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. He is the moon.
Jazz says that dead loss, a venture or situation that produces no profit whatsoever. It's almost like his dreams of being an actor are leaving
Oh
him
my
fruitless.
god. Oh, wow. Oh.
And nothing of consequence was lost.
The nurses that I went, it's like when I went to get my infusion,
Mhm.
both of the nurses had done some background acting work.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fun.
And I was like, wow. Oh, a copy of Ranced Magazine! The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes is being read all over London. Isn't it wonderful?
Naturally, the one who, one asks oneself if such a singular detective could really exist. But having met the chap, it's an undeniable. He is most certainly singular. Singularly dangerous.
That's genuine public opinion for you, Mrs. Sato. Perhaps it should be reflected in the stories.
Make no mistake, Mr. Naruhodo. I intend to snuff out the sort of public opinion we just heard personally.
Ace Attorney 3. the Sasato trials. Yeah, I killed him.
They didn't like Mr. Holmes's magazine.
So I killed
I had to do what I had to do.
Oh boy. I'm starting to see where Mr. Sholmes' untainted reputation comes from now. There's a single apron drying on that enormous cannon-shaped clothes horse.
Ah, my clothes horse.
Oh, yes, a clothes
My
horse.
clothes horse.
No, Mr. Naruhodo. That's a real cannon.
I knew that. I was just testing you.
Piece of history, that is. Seen plenty of action on the battlefield, I can tell you. Now the old girl and I are just enjoying the peace and quiet of retirement together. And of course, she'd come in handy if the enemy decided to launch an attack again.
Is there a war going on that I don't know about?
Yeah, his wife is so jealous of the cannon. You don't look at me like you look at that cannon.
Have you ever defended an entire battalion?
I've destroyed entire battalions.
Not now.
That's your military uniform, isn't it, Mr. Garrideb?
Well, ceremonial garb, yes. Been hanging on the wall since my retirement bash. Not in active service now, you know. Doesn't mean much to me anymore. You could have the old thing if you wanted it.
Well, it might suit Lord Van Zeeks, perhaps. An overly ostentatious outfit like this could be just what he needs.
Very tactful, Mrs. Sato. Very tactful indeed.
See ya.
Ah, yes, those enormous mortar shells. It's quite something seeing them up close, isn't it?
Didn't you say something about firing them into the barracks, Mr. Garrideb?
Ah, you remember, do you? Just a little mishap that occurred during training one day. What are you doing firing on your own men? The captain bellowed at me.
I'm not surprised. A little mishap doesn't really do it justice, does it?
Well, one has these little incidents when one's a hot-headed young private.
Perhaps I should put some evidence that resulted from one of my little mishaps on display.
Oh, does the great lawyer, like the great detective, want to exhibit some trophies of his finest moments?
Good to see Mr. Geridev's Medal of Honor still proudly displayed on the wall.
The inscription reads, "For distinguished participation," if you remember.
You were there. Yes, I remember. Because I remember thinking even I might stand a chance of picking up honors like that.
Wouldn't know it to look at me now, perhaps. But I had my devil-may-care days, you know?
Devil may care. What did you get up to?
Well, it's all in the past now, of course. And best left there.
Best not. I want to know now.
His wife in prison's just like,
I sense the things! He is thinking of the things!
Oh, you look very dashing in your uniform there, Mr. Gerideb.
Ha! That old portrait, eh? Drawn by an art student who used to rent the room downstairs.
oh, connection.
Do you think it was me?
Or
It could
olives.
be.
Oh, you look so
Other.
wonderfully young and courageous and strong!
And dashing and daring.
Dashing and daring, courageous and caring.
Yes, well, the chap presented it to me one day and asked if I'd let him off the month's rent in return.
Ballsy move. Oh, I see. And so you did, presumably?
I ballywell did not.
Oh!
A portrait is a portrait, but rent is rent, eh?
And yet it's still there, proudly on the wall. We know what that screen is hiding now. The aftermath of the fiery altercation the other day.
Don't suppose I'll be able to clear that mess up for some time now.
Oh dear, this must be a very difficult situation for you.
I'll say. People talk about twists of fate and whatnot.
Is it snapped? The pipe? That's weird. Anyways.
But this is a twist and a half. A rotten show all around.
He's clearly struggling with everything that's happened. Oh, who wouldn't? Wife's in jail. And his maid.
Oh.
That's an impressive collection of cakes on that fancy silver cake stand over there.
I feel sure that it was full of cakes when we first investigated here as well.
Yes, quite right. Haven't touched it since. Haven't done much at all, really. Since it all happened. You know, the incident. Time's rather stood still for me, you know?
Oh,
Time has stood still. Now that's an interesting phrase. I might be able to use that excuse when I'm next supposed to be tidying the office.
you could just tidy up, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oof. These shelves look like they've been completely torn apart by a wild beast.
Reminds me of the Battle of Mai Wan, don't you know?
Ah, the experiences of a seasoned veteran.
Enemy had us surrounded on all sides. We really thought we were done for. The whole Bally Company. We were taking a real pounding from their cannons, so all we could do was run for our lives.
Oh, I thought that story was going to go in a different direction, actually.
Well, the whole experience taught me one thing, I can tell you. When you're done for, you're really done for.
That's not what a lawyer who often finds himself under fire wants to hear.
She was a real danger.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. A threat.
Oh, yes.
This morning's incident. It must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what happened.
Ah, well, yes. That hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no bally answer.
And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door?
Well, I called on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, I suppose.
Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour.
That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes of oversleeping has warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick your door down every morning.
Well, better to be safe than sorry and all that.
Is it just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden?
Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door.
Mr. Shamspeare. Yes, why?
The victim's name is Mr. Shamspeare, I believe. Is that right?
Yes. William Shamspeare. Took the ground floor room 3 months ago now.
And how would you describe him?
In a word, destitute.
Destitute?
Well, let's face it, the only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bally screw loose.
So hard to choose which category Soseki-san would fall into.
Right. Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude. You're thinking really loud and rude.
He was doing research as well.
The research into what?
The arts!
Shakespeare, of course, Shakespeare! Read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know? Romeo and Hamlet and all
I
that.
love that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's known as Sao in Japanese,
Oh.
as you know, and many of his works have already been translated.
It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there?
SAO, Shakespeare Online.
Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamspeare would have much in common.
Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Well, let's hope it's not that.
Mr. Naruhodo! Really? How rude!
After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning?
Well, now. Must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, I remember, and it was completely dark already. That failed actor chap was out at the time.
Mr. Garadeb noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose.
Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shamspeare got back. And the chap was up until past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there.
Literally.
Thank you. That was very illuminating.
Didn't you hear me? It was dark.
Yeah. Really laying it on. Is everything all right, Mrs. Sato?
Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garadeb, you were up here in your room all evening, as if I've understood correctly.
Not a big fan of stairs. Not with this blasted leg.
Then, how is it that you seem to know? The precise movements of your tenants on the ground floor, I mean.
Something like this came up the first time around and they got all weird about it. Ah! That's a very good point. I can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it?
I say, I know what you're thinking, and it's a bally outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants, why would I?
Then how did you know, Mr. Garadeb? How did you know?
It's the gas, woman! The gas tells me everything.
Beans on toast?
The gas?
Speaking gas?
Yes, I have a superpower. I can tell everything a person knows by smelling their farts.
Wow, that would actually be a really interesting superpower.
I was bitten by a radioactive dog. my life was changed forever. Is there like a forum for cursed superhero ideas?
I think there's got to be a subreddit for it.
It's got to be. Speaking gas? What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything? Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is supplied to the building by pipes. Yes, I more or less worked that out.
Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside. And the gas company supplies gas to the properties via the main.
Yes, I understand that too. Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen? Well, obviously the room would get brighter. Exactly. But at the same time, the lights in the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment. What? They dim? Why?
Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual, and that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe with the other lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, mightn't it?
Yes, of course. Because everything's connected to a single supply pipe.
Is that supposed to happen, though? It sounds rather undesirable.
Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless. Long worn out. And barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's also true, though. Extinguish the lamps up here and they glow brighter for the rest of the house. Huh. Right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere. You've got it.
Oh, of course, because when people come back home in the evening and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires.
Clever. In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in there closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house.
Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garadeb. Absolutely fascinating.
Oh, well, nothing to it, really. And I can see that it's, and I can't really see that it's going to help us with the case either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garadeb is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again.
A good idea.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo, I say.
Ooh, wow, we're compiling quite a bit of evidence.
Aren't we?
Mr. Garadeb, could I show you this? Been quite a couple days, as you can imagine. I'm afraid I'm rather tired. Haven't really got the energy in the old eyeballs, to be honest with you.
Oh, wow.
Well, some other time then.
You ever just had tired eyeballs?
Oh, yeah.
Just not wanting to look at stuff?
Ooh, we never examined this.
I love the detail, actually, of like the
Right?
threads.
It's so good.
I'm right in thinking that these are the scales, these scales are a symbol of the defense in law, aren't they?
They're supposed to symbolize treating everything equally and fairly. That's why they're always in the middle, balanced, equal measures on both sides.
Recently, though, whenever I see a set of scales, I can only think of the enormous scales of justice.
That's entirely understandable. They're such a powerful symbol in a courtroom, aren't they?
And the thing about the scales of justice is, they're always leaning one way or the other. They're only ever in balance right at the start.
It must be something peculiar to the British. I'm afraid I can't shed any light on it, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh. It's very fine embroidery here that shows the name of the armband's owner. In this case, Kazuma Asogi. So I'm always carrying my best friend's hopes and dreams with me on my right arm, just here, all the time, except for when it gets stolen all those times.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's something that weighs very heavily on me.
Oh, I didn't realize it was such a burden, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes,
I think that's why my right shoulder aches so much.
Are you sure that it's not to do with your reading in bed or the like?
Nope. Definitely the weight of responsibility.
You look at this soap.
Oh.
I want to see this soap.
Exactly.
Oh. What is it, Mr. Naruhodo?
This bar of soap. When we first found it, I could have sworn there was some sort of round disc in this depression here, a reddish one.
Yes, you're right. I remember it too. But now the depression is completely empty.
Where could the disc have gone? Ooh, updated. Oh.
Oh.
This must be the cup that Mr. Shamsby was drinking from then. It's stained on the inside.
Tea does that, I'm afraid. Even green tea.
Oh, really? I've never noticed before.
You've never noticed?
Well, I never leave it in the cup long enough to leave a mark. I like to gulp it down. Drink tea while it's hot. That's the Japanese way, isn't it?
Oh dear. So many people seem to have gotten the wrong idea about our culture, and most of them are Japanese. This is the teacup from which Mr. Natsume was drinking.
Yes, unlike the other one, the inside of this cup is completely clean.
I suppose he must have drank the contents before the tea had a chance to leave a mark.
I always gulp it down too.
Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo.
Well, if you just sip it little by little, it goes cold.
Clearly, I shall have to instruct you on the proper way to drink tea.
Oh. Update.
You can brush your teeth with baking soda, and that apparently helps with stains.
I know that some toothpaste has baking soda in it.
Yeah, Arm & Hammer.
Yeah. Great logo. It's literally an arm with a hammer.
Right?
Pretty on the nose.
Oh, we have this map again. Oh, and
the books.
The books.
The books receipts.
All right. Well, it's probably not wise to start another thing, so that's where we'll wrap it up.
So tomorrow we're going to visit Mr. Natsume in prison.
If that's his real name.
Oh, got some stuff to show the people and then put up on the board.
Place to play first.
For God's sake, Naruhodo-san, please know when to make your blue text your inner monologue and when to differentiate it from your stage whispering.
Thankest of you.
Yeah.
Adam!
Adam?
Thanks, Adam.
I never, the banter that's happening in the second game reminds me a lot more of the, Phoenix Wright Maya banter that used to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was a little different in the first game, I feel, and now it's more on the nose of these, like, kind of, like, you know, like goofball and straight girl kind of zingers.
Yeah. And maybe there's enough distance between, like, the deep motivation that Runo had in that game. It's like, I'm doing this for my best friend. Now it's like, like, I've already done it for my best friend. I can chill out now a bit.
Yeah, Zio says the writers had more time with the characters.
Mm.
Less budget for the game, more time for writing, and that we love to see it. Well, we love to see people get paid more too. So.
Guess who is back? Back again. Tom is back, tell a friend. Guess who is back? Guess who is back? Guess who is back? Smiley face.
Hey, Monosqueven Anime!
Wow. Thank you so much. Glad to be back, yo.
Back again.
All right, let's show some things. And we're going to put them up. Okay, let's try this. Okay, come on over. Yeah, that's the... Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for hanging out with us, though. Much of fun.
Can you believe it? Tomorrow's already Thursday.
Yeah, right? The weeks, they do fly.
How would you pronounce it, Sony, if not Monosqueven Anime?
No, it's not going to work.
Squevin? Squarv?
Monosqueven.
Scooven?
All right. Putting some stuff up on the board.
Bam! Of course, Friday we have some Bizarria, and in the description there's also a link where you can suggest some Halloween October games.
Boo!
A lot of favorites.
Boo!
Poking Up, Last of Us, Omori. There were some other ones I saw. Resident Evil 4, I think, has some support.
Witch's House.
Ooh. Wait, which house?
Our house. In the middle of our street, our house. In the middle of our street, our house.
The which the children she does eat.
Our house. In the middle of the street.
Time, why must you go so fast? Because you're having fun.
Because time flies when you're having fun. I wish Parasite Eve got a lot of love too. It's one of my favorite games. One of my favorite games. It's got Yoko Shimomura. It's got my waifu. It's got singing.
My waifu.
It's got the ideal way that I wish to die. Spontaneous combustion. Because you haven't heard that in the news recently.
Not recently.
So if I had to choose a way, up in flames.
Oh my god!
Just suddenly.
He lived like he died.
One might say spontaneously.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We have Yakuza and Bizarre tomorrow, and Saturday we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right.
But until then,
Thanks, everyone.
later. Bye.
Bye. I love you. Bye. Ooh, or I die via ball lightning, because ball lightning can also just appear randomly.
Huh.
There could be ball lightning right now.